So I know that this morning that there is a message just for me, or maybe just for you, but just for me, that's going to give me a new insight, a new understanding, a new opportunity for me to grow into the greatness that I am, the perfection that I am. And so I would like to invite Rev Joy-anne up to the podium as she gives us an inspiring and motivating talk entitled Empower Your Power. Rev Joy-anne. Thank you. All right, everyone here enjoying the snow?
Yes.
Am I the only puppy in the snow? I'm like a puppy in the snow. Have you ever seen a puppy in the snow? That's me. All right, so this month we are engaging in the practice of the art and science of the powerful and life-transforming teachings of the science of mind, and how to live our lives through the art and the science of living spiritually. And so why do I say the practice? Why do I call it a practice? What is the difference between the most amazing violinist? Have you ever heard Paganini? Amazing violinist in the world, and someone just beginning. You all know the answer. What's the answer? Practice. So the qualities of that practice involve the art and the science. Now the art is the fluid, it is the flowing, it is the creative juices, it is the passion, it is the feeling, and the energetic and aliveness. That's what the art is. And what is the science? The science is the methodical, the repeatable, the reliable, and the systematic result. And so when we combine the art and the science of spiritual living, we truly create a life that is worth living. And you may have noticed, I'm sure you have, that there's a lot of things going on in the world. Anyone notice that? And so with that in mind, I would like all of us just to take a moment right now to send, just like we sent our children off to youth church or youth learning, or they're not really learning, but learning youth, they're learning to be the most amazing, next, greatest, grandest version of themselves. But let us do that also. And send our love to the world. Because every time something happens to one of us in the world, it really does affect all of us in this field of all possibilities. So please join me in just sending your love, our love, to everyone everywhere. May all and may every being and all of creation, every single being, be blessed exceedingly and without exception. May I and every being and all of creation be blessed exceedingly and without exception. May I and every being and all of creation be blessed exceedingly and without exception. And that includes everyone. Everyone in France, every person, every place, everything, every part of our planet and beyond, into the universe, upon universe, upon universe, upon universe, forever expanding. So thank you. Thank you for joining me in that. So today, our conversation is all about empowering our power. And those of us who are very savvy in our teaching of science of mind may think, wait a minute, the power that creates worlds is already right here inside of me. And it's not just like this tiny little dot or this little spark. And this is taught in all of the religions, all of the spiritual practices of the world. That the divine, that God, the creator, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, is everywhere present. It is almighty, it is all powerful. That healing energy of life itself is right here within us. If it's everywhere, it has to be here. And it is rushing, pouring, streaming, flowing through us as we sit quiet. So right where you are, that presence of life, that presence of the divine is there. And so we really don't need anything to empower our power per se, because it's already complete, it's already there, it's already perfect, it's already ever available. It never ends, it's always there. And so that being true, and as Shakespeare might say, knowing this power and living it, embodying it, is something that might be just a little different for some of us. Because it's one thing to hear it or see it, and another thing to live it. In this thing called you, Dr. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, the greatest adventure of your life lies in the conscious use of this power, and you need not believe, as our reading said, in any particular religious system, any religion of the world, to discover the wellspring of life. You find it at the center of your own being, in the quiet of the evening, in the stillness of the night, in the dawn of the new snowy day, and in the midst of activity. So today we are going to look at this power, and said another way, we will look at empowering our power to create a conscious connection to the source of all life, and to experiencing, and if we are experiencing any challenge, we will have an opportunity to empower ourselves into a whole new perception, a whole new experience of what we call a challenge. And I'm sure you all have heard this, that every time we have a challenge, our consciousness has the full potential, full ability to find the spiritual answer or the spiritual solution. This is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. But first and foremost, there must be one of the most important keys we can have, and this is what I talked about a little bit last week, but there's one thing that needs to happen in order for us to shift into that place of that change. And that is this: a willingness for us to make a shift or a change. Now, one of the hugest quotes we have, it was in all of our magazines for many years, and it was this: change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. It is our perception, it is how we see the world, and I've said this before. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. We are looking out through our own individual glasses, if you will. And we can change the lens at any time, right? We can do that. Dr. Phil says this: if you like your life the way it is, and it's absolutely perfect, or if you're having challenges, he said, how is life working for you? He goes, how is it working for you? That's what he says quite often. And C.S. Lewis once wrote this, and I love it. He says, it may be hard for an egg. Think about an egg. It may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird, but it would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining in the egg. We are like eggs at present, and we cannot go on indefinitely being just ordinary, decent, nice eggs. We must be hatched or go bad. So in all of life, we have to change in order for them to be a change. If everything stays the same and stays the same and stays the same, if you're the same as you were when you came onto this planet, how would that be a blessing to you or to anyone else on the planet? I want to be here so that my life adds to the collective blessing. When I check out, when I leave, I want to know that I achieved something with my life, and that would be to be of service, to be of love, to be more loving, leave the planet a better place than when I arrived. So change is all about hatching. And if we don't hatch, we'll go bad. So what a concept. And I love Edwin Gaines. She's one of the great financial, prosperous wealth teachers of the world. She is in the top 3% of wealthy beings and wealthy women in the world. This is what she said. She suggests that after we identify our goals, we pray daily, not for the goal, not for the new car, not for the relationship, not for the wholeness or health, but that we pray for the consciousness of the thing that we desire. For the consciousness. Who remembers what consciousness is? Patsy, you're good at that. She's thinking, okay.
All your thoughts.
All your thoughts. all your words, all your feelings, and all your actions are the atmosphere within which you live. And so if you look at your life and say, or you open your checkbook and there's not enough money, then somewhere, it's not about anything out here. It's not about the government or the paycheck or the job. Something in here needs to shift, right? And so I love her idea to ask instead, if you want health, to ask for the consciousness of the health. If you want wealth, ask for the consciousness of wealth. If you want relationship or love, ask for the consciousness of that. If you want to overcome an addiction, ask for the consciousness of overcoming that addiction, to know the truth of your being. So here's the important question for today. What did you bring in with you today? What did you come here with this morning that you are willing to change? What are you willing to change? What did you bring with you that you're willing to change? And perhaps that change means leaving something behind. Perhaps it means to have a new thought about it or about the current situation. So what did you come here this morning with that you would like to change? And I'm going to throw out some ideas for you. Perhaps it's this: a belief that you are separate from God. If you believe that, are you willing to change that? How about a belief that God is judging you, or the Creator is judging you? That was taught in many of the religions of the world. Or you're being punished, and that this life is the punishment. A belief that the divine will show up for everyone else but for you. A belief that you, no matter how hard you try, will never make it. You might want to change that belief. A belief that the world is too far gone to be helped. Anyone believe that? If you do, out the door. I'm just kidding. A belief that... Oh, they need to stay. Okay, all right. Stay then. Okay. All right. Or how about a belief that the challenge you are currently facing, and usually we have something going on, right? Something is going on somewhere. We want to change our job. We want to change our hair. I was a redhead not too long ago for Halloween. And everyone said, why don't you become a redhead? I said, no. All right. So a belief that the challenge you are currently having will never go away. Not true. Everything is changeable. So there needs to be a willingness in your heart, in your being, a willingness to change. Change your thoughts, change your words, change your actions, change your consciousness. So those are some examples. So what else might someone have walked in here with that could be keeping them from feeling that deep abiding connection, that oneness with the power that creates worlds? Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Anything you want to let go of? Nothing. We're all good. We can do some clearing statements. Anything?
That my job is causing repetitive strain.
Okay, thank you. So her job might be, the thought is, my job is causing repetitive strain.
Injuries.
And what?
Injuries.
And injuries. A repetitive motion is, okay. So, great. So we'll work with that one. Is that the truth of you? Is that the truth of anyone? So is it possible for you to be in a job that doesn't cause you repetitive change, that pays you more, that has better hours, and works better for you? Is that possible? Yeah. It gives you a better retirement and more vacation time and travel. She's like, okay. Because what happens is we kind of get stuck. Anyone here get stuck? We get stuck in our thinking. Yeah, we can change that. So that's a great example. So I've kind of thrown out a lot actually to consider. And so I invite you to think for a moment, ask yourself, thank you for sharing that, what did you bring? You may not have wanted to share that you would like to change or shift. And what I'm asking for, I'm going to say something and I'm going to ask you to repeat it. Because when we say it with our words, you can think it, that's one level, great. If you're going to, choose thoughts, thoughts create, so choose the good ones, right? So I'm going to say a statement, and I want you to say it back to me. So I commit to making a change.
I commit to making a change.
Okay, now when you say it with more gusto, I commit to making a change. Again, I commit to making a change. Very good. Dr. Holmes said this, and it's so amazing. So everything that's ever happened to you, every single aspect of your life since the day you came on the planet, is impacting you until you decide to change that. So listen to his words from this thing called you. These are so powerful. I love these words. He said, everything you have ever thought, said, done, seen, learned, or experienced has left an imprint on your subconscious mind. And this subconscious also contains memory images of your family life. So think about your family life, your ancestral background, and the sum total of what the whole world has thought or believed. These memories are not dead things. Quite the reverse. They are always active. But there is more to it than this. Just as you are being acted upon by your own memories and the mind of history in your environment, you are also being acted upon by the mind of the Creator, by the divine, by the power that creates worlds, which is within and all around you. So between this divine presence, this upper part of your being, and your outward experience, said Holmes, there is a field of subconscious reactions which have been gathered up throughout the ages. But you, he says, you are a creator and not a creature. Today you may be suffering from the effects of consciousness of the ages and your own old belief systems. But today you can begin right now to make a change. To make a change. And that's what this commitment is all about. Being willing, the willingness to change your mind. And us ladies, we're really good at changing our mind. We change our mind all the time. So I commit to making a change. Let's say that together. I commit to making a change. And now that we have said that, I want us to put in, now we clear that out. Anywhere in me where I'm not willing to change my mind, I now release and uncreate at all times a Godzillion. And so let's put something positive in. So I want you to repeat after me. I know that I am one with the divine.
I know that I am one with the divine.
I know that God in me is perfect.
I know that God in me is perfect.
I know that my real nature is spiritual. Say it like that.
I know my real nature is spiritual.
Oh, very good. I know that I exist in a boundless good.
I know that I exist in a boundless good.
In a heavenly state.
In a heavenly state.
In perfect being.
In perfect being.
I know that my mind is being acted upon.
I know that my mind is being acted upon.
By pure spirit.
By pure spirit.
Divine intelligence guides me.
Divine intelligence guides me.
Into peace and happiness and success.
Into peace and happiness and success.
Joy, love, and a perfect life.
Joy, love, and a perfect life.
And that's all from this thing called you. Yeah, so how did that feel? Like when you say the words, it energizes you. And every single cell in your body, all 30 trillion cells are listening to you. Yes.
Just my cells just start vibrating higher.
Yep, exactly. Because when you say something, it is a vibration. Even when you think something, it's a vibration, and every cell hears you. So I've worked with people who walk around saying, I'm tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. Guess what? Right. And if you find yourself, you want to affirm what you do want. You want to turn away from what you don't want. And you want to affirm what you do want. Even if you feel like, well, it's not exactly true. I have lots of energy, but I'm tired. No, I have lots of energy. No, I'm tired. I have lots of energy. Okay, we have lots of energy. Okay, fine. We have lots of energy. She's saying that. I better create it. I have lots of energy. I better hurry up. Your subconscious mind listens to you. It loves your voice. So you want to affirm what you do want. It is having the consciousness of God in and through everything that gives you the feeling of connection and empowers your power. And that's what we're here to do today. In Science of Mind, our wonderful textbook on page 446, and this is really at the center of our work today, this is what Dr. Holmes says. I must set myself right with the universe. I must find the way back to the central fire of my being if I am to be warmed. I must find the source if I am to be supplied. I must be like God. I must be like the divine if I wish to realize God's Spirit in my life, in every cell of my being, in every fiber, in every universe, in every lifetime. I must realize that. So what do we need to do? Well, the great master teacher, Jesus, said this: all things, whatever ye pray and ask for, believe, and ye receive them, and ye shall receive them. So it is all about our faith. It is the emotion of completion that brings us to the faith of God, and rather than the faith in God. We want to have the faith of the divine. When God creates, when the universe was created, it wasn't like, gee, I wonder if it happened. No, the power and the presence of God itself is in every living thing, and it is in us as us. So it is in your consciousness, it is in your heart, it is in your mind, and so we're here to recognize that, to live that, to be that. So remember, God is conspiring. The universe is conspiring for your good. For your good. And I love it. I read this, I found this quote. Listen to this. It says, above every blade of grass hovers an angel whispering, grow, grow, grow. Above every blade of grass, an angel saying, grow, grow, grow. We're here to grow. We're here to expand. That's what our challenges, that's what our opportunities are all about. So if you have any of those things in your life, remember, right there in the midst of that opportunity or challenge, the divine is there. The divine is expressing. And it's saying to you, grow, grow, grow. People ask me often, why do I have this challenge? I knew someone, not here at the center, and every 5 years, can you imagine having a lifetime like this? Every 5 years, they would go into a relationship and live happily ever after for 5 years, and then it would end. So they went into another relationship, and they lived happily ever after for 5 years, and then it would end, and they went to another one for 5, another one for 5, another one for 5, and then all of a sudden they said, wait a minute, I think there's a pattern. What's going on here? So I asked this person, what happened to you when you were 5? Something happened to this person when they were 5. Because they have this pattern that disrupts their whole life every 5 years. So interesting. So everything that's ever happened to you, everything that's ever happened to our planet, we are part of that. But that's why it's so important to wake up to our spiritual magnificence, to know who we are, to make a choice to change our thinking and to change our life. So the secret of spiritual power lies in the consciousness of one's union with the whole, with the divinity, with the availability and the awareness of God or of the creator, of source, whatever you want to call it. So we're here to realize that, to wake up to that, to express that, and to see that any challenge is an opportunity for us to know that. That's why it's there. And any challenge you're having, I got news, and I've shared this many times. This is from Neil Donald Walsh. Any challenge you're having, your soul called it in. Whether if it's an addiction, if it's a relationship problem, if it's a money problem, it has the word opportunity written all over it. Your soul chose that. Why would it do that? For your expansion, for your growth, for your living the next greatest, grandest version of yourself. And those are the words of Neil Donald Walsh. So I'm here to invite you today, as I bring this to a close, with a true story about someone who empowered her power to apply this. And that secret of spiritual power lies in that consciousness of our union with the One. And this story really exemplifies that. So I'm going to ask you just to close your eyes and to just receive this story, this true story that really brings this whole idea of empowering our power into a magnificent place of expansion and light. And just kind of getting in touch with your heart center. And this story is a true story of a young bride named Thelma, who went on to live with her husband, who was stationed at a U.S. Army training camp near the Mojave Desert in California. From the first day that she arrived, she hated the place. She hated the dust, the loneliness, the tiny shack in which they had to live, the unbearable heat. It was 125 degrees, or about 45 Canadian. Celsius, in the shade of the cactus trees. Can you imagine 45, hot. And the relentless wind. There was no one to talk to. She was totally alone. All that were there were some native people, and they didn't speak English. She was quite sure that she was living in hell, and it wasn't about to change. So finally, she became so utterly sad, so utterly upset. She felt wretched, so full of self-pity that she wrote to her parents, of all things, and told them that she was coming home. I'm leaving my husband, I'm coming home. And her father answered her letter with just 2 lines. Imagine a letter comes in, it has just 2 lines in it. And she said these 2 lines literally changed her life. This is what they said. It was from a poem from her dad. And I quote, 2 men looked out from prison bars. One saw the mud, the other saw the stars. That was it. So according to Thelma, she read those 2 lines over and over and over to herself, determined to find the good in her situation. She made up her mind to look for the stars. I'm going to look for the stars. I'm going to look for the stars. I'm going to look for the stars. And she decided that she would make a change. She was changing her thinking. She was empowering her power. She made up her mind to approach life with a sense of personal power and trust that there was a reason that all this was happening to her, and that the reason at its heart was compassionate and it was good. It had to be good. So tentatively, she reached out to the native people, and to her utter surprise, they received her overtures toward friendship very warmly. When she showed interest in their weaving and pottery, they gave her presents. They gave her not only presents, but their favorite pieces, which they refused to sell to the tourists. She studied with them until she became an expert on the various forms of the cactus and the yuccas and the Joshua tree. She learned about prairie dogs, and she watched for the desert sunsets, and she hunted for seashells in the desert that had been left there when the sands of the desert had been an ocean floor. The Mojave Desert didn't change. The native people didn't change. The wind still blew incessantly. The temperatures continued to reach 45 Celsius. And the tiny shack in which she lived with her husband was still dark and kind of claustrophobic. But never in her life did she imagine that changing her mind about her experience, about changing her thoughts, had empowered her power. And by doing that, she transformed a terrible, wretched experience into what she later in her life described as the most exciting adventure of her life. And she even wrote a book about it called Bright Ramparts, which brought her some degree of notoriety and personal satisfaction. She looked out of her self-made prison, and she saw the stars. She saw the stars instead of the mud. So where in your life right now can you be willing to change your perception to be looking for the stars and to literally change your life? So let us just think on that as we anchor this with our beautiful wings into consciousness. We have angel wings that you'll hear in just a moment. So just taking just a brief moment to simply recognize there is only one infinite and loving presence, one power, one life, one substance, one essence, one creator, one source. And it is everywhere powerfully present. And that being said, it is within us. If it is everywhere present, it is inside of us. In every cell, in every fiber, in every thought, in every word, you are using that power. You are connected to, always and forever one with that power. And so knowing that, I am now choosing to see the stars instead of the mud, to see that every experience in my life, that I have chosen that, my soul has chosen that for my expansion, for my growth, for my love, for a deeper, greater version of myself than ever before. And I willingly choose now to empower my power by realizing at the deepest level that right where I am, the presence of the divine is. In my heart, in my body, in my mind, in my words, in my actions, in my thoughts. Every part of me empowered by the power that creates worlds. The same power that created the entire universe, the cosmos, breathes through me, looks through my eyes. And therefore the healing energy of life itself is healing my life, is healing my body, is healing my finances. Healing is simply another word for wholeness. And I am so grateful for this. I am grateful to know this. I am grateful to know that I know this truth. And I am willing to change my mind, to see the stars and not the mud. And I just say thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Life. Thank you, Source. And I know that these words have been received and heard by the infinite Creator itself, for God is not deaf. And so I simply let go and let God guide my life, seeing the stars, seeing the blessings, seeing the good. And so with that in mind, let us anchor this in our consciousness by saying together, and so it is. We have a song.